And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, my name's Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the worst game to come out in 2018. Oh, am I spoiling my opinions of this game already? Now, part of the reason that it gets my award for being the worst game of the year is the fact that it's produced by Upper Deck, which is a company that has a long lineage of making really good games. In fact, the legendary Marvel game is fantastic and I really enjoy it. And so this game, inspiringly called Dark Legacy: The Rising, is claiming to be essentially a collectible card game mixed with a back and forth card game mixed with a role-playing game. Now, that's very ambitious to begin with, but very problematic. It's not collectible. I should make that clear. You essentially can buy these boxes here with two-player starter decks, and you can buy level. It's more of an expandable card game. But I'm going to try to dissuade you from buying it at all. Really, it's just awful. Let me show you. Now, there's a good chance that I'm not going to get all the rules right, because even though the rule book itself is fairly thick, there's another online rule book, and the rule book is not written very well at all. So you're going to start with one experience, your level 1 essentially. You also start with 50 health, and your object is to do 50 worth of damage to the other person, or make them go through their entire deck, or get 20 poison tokens on that character. You're going to get a sheet here that you'll put in front of you, and you can pick a weapon or a piece of armor or something that has a cast of 0 and is equal to your level, which means at the beginning of the game you don't really have a lot of options, but you're just going to go through your deck and pick something. Now, your deck's going to be made up of various cards. So you have armor cards like these here. You'll have some creature cards you're going to put out, kind of like Magic the Gathering, and they'll attack the other person. They'll have a different number of attack, defense, and life points. And you also will have some spells that you can play as the game goes by. These are going to cost casting points to play them. They're also going to require you to be a certain level. Now, how do you level up in this game? Well, you wait till the game's finished, and then you can level up. So you'll notice that a lot of cards in these decks are not your level. They're much higher than your level, 4 and 5. There's a few cards that are level 1, but most aren't. To play those cards, you are going to basically put them down here and put tokens on them until each turn, adding a token to it, until the number of tokens there is equal to the difference between your level and the card that's there. You'll be attacking your opponent, doing damage to your opponent. So this here is 5 ammo, so I can throw a bomb at them and do 6 damage to them, unless they have some way to block it, maybe with their divine shield or the various things. And you're just going to go back and forth taking turns, casting things or attacking. How do you cast things? Well, this is the game's greatest mechanism. This is a 20-sided die. On your turn, you will roll this die, and that's how many casting points you have of how much you can cast from your hand. You might roll a 1, or you might roll a 20. And then you will use those casting points. They don't store from turn to turn either. You get whatever you have this turn. There might be some artifacts that let you keep them from turn to turn. And that is what the game is. The game is play these creatures out in front of you. So there's Vulture, which might attack for 1 and do 3 damage. Give yourself some sort of weapon or armor and just go back and forth fighting each other till one person wins, or one of the people flips the table and punches the game really hard. Oh, what is there to say here? A sheet of paper to put everything on with the most generic, boring stuff you can imagine. Tiny tokens. The 20-sided dice are nice. Here's the components of this game are so problematic. So let's open up another set. There's different sets here, and I don't even care because this is all garbage anyway. So let's find a deck here. This is one of the big problems of the game, is the lack of imagination. This is Ninja, Goblin Bomber, Regeneration, Power Boost, Petrified. This is an Axe. This is called Fire. So the artwork itself is very uninspired. It's just very generic. The names are uninspired. Almost everything is goblin, poison, flare, fire, shield of chaos. Ooh, well now we're kind of pushing an assassin. And the cards themselves, the back looks okay, but the cards themselves, I mean, there's nothing on these creatures. They're not even that interesting. And then the stats are really tiny in the corner. Now you can get cards that once you go up in levels, you can start putting these cards in your deck. So let's go big here. Let's open the level 13 through 20. Ooh, now we have heavy armor and BFK and Chaos Dragon. And so these things start looking a little more interesting as you play, but you're gonna have to play a whole lot of games to go up levels to even be able to use this stuff. The rule book itself is really not super clear on how to build a deck. You play with these starter decks. The rule book gives you a gameplay overview, tells you the different types of cards, and okay, that's fine. It tells you how these cards work, and then just gives you, the way the game is taught is so poorly done. Talking about this, it gives you what the starter decks are, so you know what's in each of these decks. Gives you deck building rules. Then it talks about the factions, which are simply called Chaos, Darkness, Earth, Divine, Tech, and Wind. It's almost as if when they talk to the person making the game, saying, hey, you need to be as generic as you possibly can. And then they give you these skill level bonuses here that you get as you go up points. So you get these skill points that you'll get, and you can go up levels with these, and it's like this RPG thing that's added to the game. Really, the components for this game, and of course, these boxes are a real pain in the neck and everything, but yeah, even the name of the game, components for this, big thumbs down. If you're a defender of this game, please come into the comments and explain any redeeming quality of this game. I'm not talking about try to tell me why the game is good. Tell me something good about this game. Anything. It's the most generic theme possible, which is a crime against gaming at this point in time. I'm sorry, but this whole stupid generic theme here, yeah, you have some nice artwork maybe on these covers, but the rest of it, axe, knife, sword, goblin, come on! I mean, it feels like the cards were written in 20 minutes, or like, get these cards written. But the biggest crime against this game, the biggest stupidity that this game brings around is that casting die. I have no idea how anyone on Upper Deck signed off on that idea, where they said, hey, we're going to roll a 20-sided die, and that's how many casting points you get. That is probably the worst mechanism in a game. It's the most rage-inducing for me. I don't see how it's even a little fun, where it's like, hey, I rolled a 1. I have 1 casting point. You have 20? Wow. Who? Come on. I'm sorry, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. So then you mix that stupidity with a game that's really dumb. I mean, there's literally tons of games out there. This game is almost like a poor man's Hearthstone in a sense. Oh, give yourself a weapon and attack the other person. Okay, look, here's the deal, guys. Magic the Gathering came up with the attack other person with creatures. That's fine. I'm not saying it's the only one in the genre. But if you're going to make something, you need to make it better. You need to make it awesome. You need to make it cool. This game has none of those. Like I said, most generic things possible. You get these starter decks, which are boring and horrible. You're like, well, can I get better cards? Yeah, sure, after you play it 20 times. What? I mean, really, what? This game is so full of luck. The cards you draw from your deck. Oh, I can't play these. Ooh, a level 8. I'll play that. It's going to come out in 7 turns. It's coming. Ooh, wait. Ooh, it's coming. Oh, the game's over? Oh. Bad component quality. Now, I get it. A lot of these collectible card games come with these sheets of paper and these tokens and a rule book, which isn't quite the rule book, and you can find it online. That doesn't excuse it from being a pile of garbage, right? I'm amazed that this was published. I really do. I went up and looked online. It looks like this may have been a Kickstarter at one point. It looks like it's the dream of one person who had this grandiose idea of putting together a collectible game or a role-playing game, a tactical card combat game, and just having this game that you would play back and forth with other people and slowly grow up in power and add more cards to your deck, kind of like ramping up. And the idea is great. Maybe. I mean, I'm not that excited by the idea, but the idea could have been something. And then it feels like this is the very first version of the game that came out, that I'm actually playing a prototype with the way the cards are named and the way the mechanisms are. And then I would have said, okay, I can see maybe there's something possible here, but you need to go back and rework this. But that's not what Upper Deck did. They published it. And they put it on the shelf, and I'm supposed to look at this game and go, ooh, garbage. Bad. This sort of thing is a disservice to our hobby. I don't know. I waited a while to do this review because I didn't want to, be too harsh in the game. But, when you go to the store and you see games on the shelf and you can say, oh, Tom, there's a good game, and, oh, you didn't like that game. And I get that. There are games I don't like that other people like. But this one mind boggles me that anybody liked it. And then beyond that, it got published. It's just, it's a mix of every bad thing, rolling dice for points, bad component quality, super generic theme, uninspired gameplay, luck of the draw and the decks. We've moved past this stuff. If this game had come out in the 80s, I would probably give it a 4 out of 10. But it came out in 2018. No, I'm sorry. Can I recommend this one at all? Dice Tower Judgment, ain't nobody got time for that.